frozen over. It's going to make a treacherous drive this morning. Be careful.
Here in South Charlotte, it is slick, it is icy, it is crunchy under my feet after that freezing rain. I'll be tracking the latest conditions.
And here in Mooresville, after hours of freezing rain and sleet, the melt has begun. We're tracking conditions here.
And we know many people are still in the dark this morning.
We're going to tell you which services and schools are closed today so you can be prepared. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up on WCNC Plus.
All right, good morning, everyone. This is what I-85 currently looks like out near Billy Graham. The interstates are looking just fine. This is what we have here near Sam Wilson. So as you can see, those on and off ramps are going to be a little slick at times, especially those bridges. So just be mindful, go a little slower as you're traveling there. This is I-77 out near mile marker 30 near Griffith. I mean, really, most of our interstates look fantastic. I think it'll be more so those secondary roads that may still have some issues this morning, and especially if you live in a rural area where maybe the roads haven't been quite treated. Drive for the conditions because it's going to be a little different everywhere, but as of now I don't have any accidents to report this morning. This is I-77 out near Arrowwood, and then finally this is currently what Tyvola looks like.
What's cooler than being cool? Ice cold. I knew you'd pick up what I was throwing down.
Yeah.
And we are going to be more than that by tomorrow morning, especially dropping down to 11 degrees, coldest temperature we had since January 2024. And we're going to have on and off wind chills in the single digits starting as early as this evening. That's why we have a cold weather advisory, weather impact alert during that time frame. Ooh, and then we warm up to a nice warm 44 on Wednesday.
Ooh, all right. Okay, well, if you still see any weather impacts, we want you to see them too. If it's safe to do so, take a picture or a video. Send us right to our WCNC Charlotte mobile app.
Make sure that you tell us the location so that we can help tell your story, and join us on WCNC Plus streaming live starting at 7.
Good morning. Happy Monday. Thanks for joining us on WCNC Plus at 7. I'm Megan Bragg and for Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We start things off with a check of your forecast. The winter storm has passed and things are feeling warmer right now. Chris,
thank goodness. Yeah, we're right around that freezing point, which usually like, oh, it's cold. No, we were 18 degrees at this point yesterday, but there are some exceptions. Some are much, much colder up in the mountains, and we are about to be calling it cold and even the coldest day in quite some time coming up here shortly. But real quick, here are the different maps, and I really want you to take away from here is most of the heaviest sleet was north of us. Meanwhile, the heaviest freezing rain is we saw values over that dangerous half-inch mark to the west. Transylvania County had 15,000 households without power. And then we also had the same values up a little bit closer to Raleigh. Meanwhile, in between here, we only had up to about a quarter to a half inch. That's still within the range that we were saying, but the impacts weren't as great just because we did have a solid dry spot in between, which lowered our totals. But then also, number one, it allowed the crews to get out there and really make things pretty effective. That sleet was very heavy, though, to close out the afternoon. We saw a quick half inch added on top of that, so that brought us up to an inch total around Davidson, around uptown Charlotte, Stallings. But then Morganton and Gamewell, so in the foothills, that's where we saw some of the highest totals across the area over in Iredell County, Turnersburg at 1.7 inches, 1.5 in Concord. Where Concord, you also had the leading total for freezing rain. You're the only ones that have a half inch of freezing rain. Had some power outages there as well. They were really just spotty instead of scattered to widespread, which is great news. And then any really for a quarter to a half inch, ranging from around Union County through Mecklenburg County, Catawba, and then back up to Cabarrus as well. Visibility is getting better. We had visibilities down to about a quarter mile. Now we're only seeing about a half mile here in Concord, still less than a mile through parts of Lancaster and Union County, but we are improving, my friends, especially between 8 and 10 o'clock. We're going to see this fog lift up and the sunshine's even going to come join us. Current temperatures right now, it's 19 degrees in Boone, but that realistically feels much colder, closer to about 1 degree. 33 right around the Charlotte area and 32 over in Concord. Wind chills right now. Oh, nope. That is going to be much colder by about this time tomorrow. Check it out. Minus 13. That's going to be the real feel at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Feeling like 3 degrees around Lincoln and then 9 degrees right around Charlotte. So we are taking a big switch over to the colder side. That's why we have cold weather alert. So from an ice storm warning to a cold weather advisory, an extreme cold warning, weather warning. So what this means is whenever you have that shading of blue over the Charlotte area, it just means that you could have wind chills below 10 degrees. Of course, the mountains have a completely different criteria. When you have a chance of feeling like 15 to 25 below, that's where you're going to have an extreme cold warning, and that's why you're seeing the difference. So tomorrow morning will be the coldest of the week, but also the coldest in quite some time. It's actually going to be the coldest morning we've had since January 21st, 2024. I right now have a low of 11 degrees, but these are complicated forecasts just because you have some of the sublimation from ice, so that can make some things cooler. But I have 11. If we're actually colder than 13 degrees, this will actually be the coldest morning we've had since December 2022. But regardless, it'll be one of the coldest mornings within the top 3 that we've had over the last 5 years. So a low of 11 degrees, well, boy, does that crush some of the ones we had recently. As I mentioned, 13 degrees in 2024, and right around Christmas Eve, if you can remember, 9 degrees. I want to bring up Christmas Eve, 9 degrees, for one reason. One of the biggest problems that we had when we got this cold, widespread, I mean widespread, water main breaks and also a lot of broken pipes. So do whatever you can. Do you know how I talk about that drip method? By this afternoon, you need to start dripping your faucets, and the one that's furthest away from your water heater, that's where you put on the warm to hot water. This is going to be a serious situation. That's the worst things that we have. Yes, it's going to be dangerously cold as far as our wind chills go, but I'm really worried about some of the breaks that people might have. So keep that in mind. And also, so because of the wind, some lingering power outages, also a possibility during that time frame. But coming up, I'm going to have your full forecast because I got something sneaky on that 7-day forecast. Check this out. We have a big cool down Friday heading into Saturday. I'm going to show you our first futurecast looking at maybe round 2 of winter weather. We'll see. But first, we have to check our morning commute. And we were saying all morning, Majestic, really proud of our local crews. They did a great job prepping things yesterday.
Absolutely. From the mountains to the city, we have seen some great improvements. I think really the biggest concerns this morning for those roads will be up there in the mountains. This is Boone, right there on King Street. I would say if you're looking at your temperature in your car and you're noticing that it's below freezing, I would just suggest taking it easy, because some of that precipitation, some of that moisture on the ground could still just be freezing over. Again, that's a different situation once you're looking a little closer to Charlotte, where actually conditions look nice here on I-77. Yes, those roads are wet, but we're seeing those temperatures climb above that freezing mark. We like to see that. Plus, we'll have that sunshine today, so most of our daytime hours will be okay. It's really tomorrow morning where we're going to really start to see some bad changes when it comes to slick and icy conditions. Right around uptown, we don't have any accidents to report, just some fog out there, so be ready for those changing conditions. We'll have another update on roads, letting you know if I do see any accidents coming up soon.
Majestic, thanks so much for that. Again, the sleet and freezing rain no longer falling, but there are some conditions that you will have to deal with, especially on those secondary roads, and we continue to track those conditions, including in western North Carolina.
WCNC Richard Vane is live again this morning in Boone. Richard, I know it's cold there. It's really windy. I can see that it's actually, is that sleet, right, coming down?
No, it's the blowing up the debris. It's blowing up the snow that was on the ground and stuff like that. Good morning to you, Megan. Good morning, Lisa. Good Monday morning, everyone. I'm seeing a few more cars out, but I'm not seeing a lot of folks out this morning. Normally, we'd be talking to them, asking them about the conditions, but they know the conditions and they're staying inside. That's good news. Now, as you said, you guys have talked about primary roads like in Boone. We just heard Majestic say looking pretty good. This is King Street that we're on. Very good traction under the cars. They've removed a lot of the debris, working even into the morning hours. When we came up here and for our live shots, we saw a couple trucks out. We've not seen a lot of cars out, which is good news. Those secondary roads will be a problem because it's very cold. Anything that hits the ground is going to freeze. Any of this water that you see that's blowing up, the dusting, if you will, that's hitting the ground will freeze. And of course, the winds don't make it any easier because it can push the cars around, especially those light moving cars. But the best advice, folks, staying inside. We can tell you that normally when we're up here and any other stories, any other days, you have at least a few people walking around getting their morning walks in or their runs in. We haven't seen any students from App State yet. We haven't seen anyone except for these cars because today is going to be another cold day. Problems with folks who are driving around. Problems even if I stand here. It's not that bad, but it's not exactly, it's cold. It's cold, guys, and it's going to get a little bit colder. So the best advice, guys, stay warm. I'll do the same in just a few seconds. We're in Watauga County. This is Richard Vane. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Richard. Back here in Charlotte, the initial layer of sleet and ice is beginning to melt.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning in South Charlotte with a look at the conditions there and how things are thawing out. Destiny. Well, Destiny, you look great and we can see the conditions there, but unfortunately we can't hear you right now. So we'll work on that and hopefully we'll get her audio so we can hear more about the conditions there. We know that she is taking a look at the conditions there in South Charlotte. So as soon as we can figure that out, we'll check back in with Destiny. In the meantime, check this out, folks, having some fun in these conditions. They made the most of this winter storm, pulling out their sleds and just having a blast. Many kids will have the chance to do that again today as several school districts in our area are closed. CMS and Union County are closed, as well as Anson, Cleveland, Gaston, and Catawba County schools. Now in South Carolina, York School District 1, Clover School District, Fort Mill, and Rock Hill will all have e-learning or virtual classes today. You can find that full list of school closings and businesses on WCNC.com, as well as the WCNC Charlotte mobile app.
And while we're pushing towards the end of the ice storm, people across the Carolinas are feeling the impact. Over 38,000 households and businesses without power, according to Duke Energy. About 2,000 of those impacted are right here in the Charlotte area. Western North Carolina got hit a little harder with 13,000 outages reported in the area. And in upstate South Carolina, there are about 14,000 reported outages.
All eyes are on Minneapolis again as another protester is killed by an immigration enforcement officer. Hear what federal officials say happened. The time is now 7:13. The frigid weather didn't stop protesters in Minnesota from demonstrating over the weekend after 37-year-old ICU nurse Alex Preddy, a U.S. citizen, was shot and killed Saturday by a federal agent in Minneapolis. The Department of Homeland Security said agents were conducting a targeted operation against an undocumented immigrant when another individual, quote, approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. Federal agents have declined to provide critical details supporting that.
This man, Alex Preddy, was peacefully assembling. He was lawfully carrying his weapon with him. He was not brandishing it by definition, by any stretch at all.
At least 2 agents involved in the incident appeared to have worn body cameras, suggesting there could be more footage that hasn't been made public yet.
A federal judge in Minnesota is ordering the Trump administration to preserve evidence related to Saturday's fatal shooting of Alex Peretti. It comes after Minnesota state officials filed a lawsuit against DHS officials and other agencies alleging evidence was taken from the scene of the shooting. The DHS did not immediately respond to a request for comment sent late last night. A hearing is scheduled on the matter for today in Minnesota's federal court. The FBI has set up a crisis coordination center in Minneapolis and is asking employees for around the country to staff it. The FBI reportedly is trying to collect intelligence on groups that are protesting federal immigration officials' presence in the city. The FBI director says there's been increasing threats to law enforcement on social media. This comes as tension continues to rise in that city.
Well, here it is. It is 19 degrees right now, -1. Richard, poor guy up there, just keeps getting colder and colder. Those are the strong winds of change, and that's going to make it the coldest that we have physically been here in about 2 years. No lie, no exaggeration. I'll show you exactly what I mean coming up.
Approaching 7:18 now, and some live pictures from New York. Take a look. This is Times Square. You can actually see one of the snowplows. If you look closely, see the American flag right there in front of it. Okay, and it changed. So anyway, heavy snow blanketed the area on Sunday, creating some hazardous conditions around the region. The highest snowfall total reported in the city so far, nearly 15 inches. We're going to hear more about this winter weather and the impacts across the country from Chris coming up in just a few minutes. Right now, though, many of you are seeing the impacts of the conditions where you live. A lot of slushy conditions out there this morning. We're going to check in with our Walker Lawson. He is live this morning in Mooresville. Walker, I know that you were in Mooresville yesterday. You're there now. You're saying not as cold and just a lot of slush.
Yeah, pretty much a lot warmer than yesterday, but it's funny from the last live shot to now I put my gloves back on because my photographer and I felt like it got a little bit colder out here. But yes, just a little bit of a, sleet mess out here. Nothing really fun. Sadly, I wish we had something fun to play with, or that you could have a snowball fight or do something fun with. But for those who wanted something white on the ground, you got it with all this sleet that's out here today. For the most part, though, people seem to be out and about, moving around, trying to get out this morning. There's some people that work at the hospital that's right down the street from us. They spoke to my photographer and said that the roads, thankfully, this secondary road that we had talked about yesterday that was never cleaned off has since been cleaned off, but they said it was actually easier to navigate on. So they're thankful that that has been cleaned off. And as you can see, a car just went by. So cars seemingly moving smooth, but next is the cold air. And I don't know if Megan is with you at the desk or not, but if it's as cold as they're saying it's going to be tomorrow, I am bringing out Megan and I's favorite jacket tomorrow, and you will see me wearing it at work.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a fluffy jacket.
If you haven't seen it, folks, it's a statement for sure.
Okay, yeah. Okay, tomorrow, Walker, twins again. Let's do it.
Might. Yeah, twinning tomorrow.
Perfect.
Thank you, Walker. We'll see you tomorrow. But don't go anywhere. We can check back in with you later in the morning as well. All right, Chris.
I feel left out. I feel I need an awesome jacket like that. Well, okay, check this out. I thought this was so cool. Guess who that is? That's Shaun White. I know, shredding it at Central Park in New York. That's not awesome. So the amount of snow that they saw, Shaun White was like, no, I still want to get my Olympics on, doing a sweet little jump here. So people are making the most of it. So even here in the Carolinas, we had a pitiful amount of sleet and we were still sledding down it. Well, you could actually snowboard in Central Park. So everyone gathered out to check out the legend himself, Shaun White. So black ice Tuesday morning. Well, it's actually just a very thin layer of ice. The whole reason why they call it black ice is because they usually are most treacherous on the black roads, which is going to be right here when you have the asphalt compared to, say, more of a concrete. So that's where you get the name. And hey, you could be fishtailing and just like that. With temperatures that are around 10 degrees, by the way, so we're about 10 to 15 for much of the early morning hours through around sunrise. At that point, the ice melt isn't really going to help us out too much. So you're going to have a lot of skidding. Tires could also be spinning out as well. And I actually took this last January. So notice the difference. This is the road, it's treated, and this is the bridge. I think you're going to have a lot of scenarios like this that you're still going to have a lot of icing here that it still could be pretty slick on some of these roads, but it's going to be so cold it's not going to be effective. The cold yesterday, 18 degrees, it was almost too cold for it to really produce a heavy precipitation. Well, this time it's going to be so cold that anything to try to prevent scenarios like this aren't going to be entirely helpful. But Majestic's been saying to most of the morning, as long as you take it easy, you're going to be okay. But truly, tomorrow morning's commute is a lot more treacherous than what we have today. I think it's a little bit sneakier as well. Today, a high temperature right around 38 degrees. Tomorrow at 39. I have a low of 11 tomorrow morning. Yeah, low of 11. And then after that, we get to warm up to a balmy 44. So I wish I was a little bit on the warmer side. But I've been mentioning that, hey, this is going to be one of the coldest that we've had in quite some time. 16 degrees officially was the coldest we were in 2025. Got to update that. 13 degrees right around 2024. That's where we're going to be close to. And dare I even say, some of us are even going to be challenging some of the values that we've had back in 2022. So I will say from personal example, where my son goes to his preschool, in 2022, they had massive water main breaks and they also had some pipes that broke. So I want everyone to try to drip their faucets in advance because of how cold it is going to be. Some areas and some infrastructure don't do as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we also have some closed roads because of a chance of a burst water main break. Luckily, we don't have that this morning. Right now, just kind of the usual mess unless you're dealing with those winds up in the mountains, Majestic.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is a live camera coming in from Blowing Rock. You can tell how windy it is by looking at the flag, the power lines, but look at the roads. The wind is blowing a lot of that really light sleet just really across the road. Some of that, a little bit of snowfall from yesterday, but you can tell those trees are just blowing like crazy. So if you're watching from the mountains, you know what I'm talking about. It feels awful outside because of that wind on top of the bitter cold conditions. I-485, yesterday when I was out there in the storm tracker, this was a spot where we honestly saw a lot of accidents. This is I-485 there out near Mount Holly Road. I mean, look at these conditions. The roads are wet. Temperatures are above freezing. This is what we like to see. I'm not seeing any major problems. You will notice a little bit of fog out there here and there. Once we're heading right around the Queen City, that's what that orange is indicating, where the fog is going to be the heaviest. So if you're traveling inbound on Independence or Monroe, you may encounter some low visibility at times. But the good news is I don't have a single accident to report this morning. Foggy and windy up in the mountains from Banner Elk to Blowing Rock to Boone. Good morning to you. Hopefully you don't have to be out in the elements, because it's that type of weather where it kind of hurts to be out there because it's so cold. I-85, we have colors popping up indicating slow moving conditions, not because of a crash or a lot of traffic, but just because people are traveling slower and with caution. That's what we like to see when we're talking about still the wintry impacts.
No accidents. That's a great thing. Majestic, thanks so much. We're going to take a quick break, but make sure that you keep it right here on WCNC Plus. This is a live look from the ball field in Kannapolis. There you can see it is covered. The icy conditions still lingering after the storm yesterday. We'll be right back.
Good Monday morning to you. Hopefully it's not a manic Monday. Now, the crews did a great job treating the roads. So it is an okay day, especially starting off around freezing. Only getting up to 38, but that is misleading because we're feeling like it's freezing most of the day because you factor in those wind chills. Sunshine is much better than what we were dealing with yesterday. But overnight tonight, get ready for the coldest morning of the year, of the season, and what we've seen really since 2024. That's right. Temperatures dropping down into the preteens, even staying clear. 11 degrees. That's the coldest that we've been since 2024. And that was also during January. Keep that in mind. So weather impact alerts because of how cold it is. Wind chills in the single digits. Negative values up in the mountains to as low as 20 below zero. The 40s after that. Majestic, what's going on for this morning's commute?
Good morning. This is what I-77 looks like. If you do have some place to be or you're just curious what the roads are looking like, honestly, they look great. I-77, I-85. Yes, they are wet, but again, our temperatures are above freezing, so we're on track to see nice things throughout the daytime hours. Mile marker A out near Remount, no problems there. This is what South Carolina looks like. I-77, I mean, everyone's really paying close attention to those roads. NCDOT, SCDOT has done a fantastic job. No accidents to report this morning. We'll have more on WCNC Plus.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Megan Bragg in for Ben Thompson. We're going to toss it right over to Chris. This ice storm is over, but we're still seeing some lingering cold temperatures, Chris.
Boy, are we. So check it out. Some of our wind chills already. It is 19 degrees right now around Boone, and it actually feels more like -3 and even up to 5. Looking at some of the other values across the area, 32 degrees, feeling like 25. 33 is actually 33, and then 28 right around the Monroe area, feeling like 33 around Wadesboro. But yeah, we're definitely feeling that chill so far. One thing that you need to know is that going forward, we are at least on the milder side. Still pretty foggy, as you can't see too far off in the distance here around Rock Hill. And this is the coldest air since 2024. It's been a while since we've been this cold down into the teens. That's for tomorrow. Bless you, Majestic. Sorry. We have temperatures that are right around 13 degrees tomorrow morning. Yesterday we were 18 degrees. That is the second coldest of the season. But winter precipitation, could it be back? Yeah, there is actually an outside chance. So I'm just letting you know that's the chance. Don't immediately get the sleds ready. But yeah, we are looking at a little disturbance that's going to roll through. And I'll show you that actually here in 1 second. So our cold weather alerts this evening through Tuesday morning. We have a cold weather advisory. And then meanwhile, you have an extreme cold warning up in the mountains. So it just depends where you are. And this cold weather, it means that we're dropping down into the range of about 11 to 14 degrees, but with on and off wind chills that are going to be below 0. Now that's primarily up into the mountains that we're going to have that range. So check it out. Most of today, we're already feeling like it's negative values. I am sorry for you in Watauga County. By the end of the day, you're feeling like 14 below 0, but we're starting to feel like 6 degrees, 4 degrees around Lincolnton, 9 degrees around Charlotte, 9 degrees to 8 degrees around Concord. And we're going to hover around this range heading into tomorrow morning. Now, one thing that's going to help us, I think our winds are going to lighten up a little bit, and then you're feeling close to 0 up the mountains and then the 20s throughout after that. So yeah, this is going to be a big chill down. But one thing that I'm really concerned about this is that I was showing you this yesterday, that 1 pound of salt will melt 46 pounds of ice at 30 degrees. So right now it's very effective. That's why it's so slushy. But yesterday it was not. There's a reason why our roads pretty much had a flash freeze and were completely covered, because temperatures were below 20 degrees and we stood there for multiple hours. Well, 6 pounds of ice at 10 degrees, where we're going to be closer to, that's all you're going to melt per 1 pound of salt. So that's not going to be really effective. So just be weather alert through tomorrow that we're going to have a lot of that black ice out and about. Looking at our longer range forecast before I break out showing you kind of that long range look, we see temperatures that are warming up to about 44 degrees on Wednesday, but noticing a lot of those teens, about 18 degrees Wednesday morning, 20 degrees on Thursday, and then 23 on Saturday with only a high of 27 degrees. So what gives? What's going on? So our long-term pattern is showing that we could have another low pressure system that develops down towards the south. So what will happen here is on Friday, I think we increase the clouds, but on Friday evening heading into Saturday morning, we do have a little disturbance that rolls through. But I don't want people to get too excited. There's too many things that could change. But if this low trends a little bit closer to, again, the coastal areas, we will have a chance for some snow. The last time, by the way, that we had this exact setup, we had a trace of snow in some parts, really in central parts of North Carolina, and I think it was like 1/10 of an inch, or not even, barely even 1/10 of an inch close to Raleigh. So I'm not calling for a lot of snow, but there's still an outside chance, so I just want everyone to be prepared. But as far as the longer range forecasts go, we are definitely going to be seeing a big chill down once you head into the last days of February, or last day of January heading into February, but we're also keeping a close eye on this. But again, don't get too excited in the short term. I just wanted to see what I was looking at. That's our next chance for winter precipitation. All right, let's get right over to Majestic on this slushy, and we can actually even call it a mild morning.
Let's get to it. I want to just show you some of the cameras that I've been looking at. This is going to be Wilkinson out near Hawley. You can see that sleet and still some of that freezing rain off to those secondary roads, but the main interstates or highways, they honestly look great. Another live camera. This one's coming in from Highway 29 out near I-485 and Pavilion Boulevard. Still not a lot of people out in those cars, which is okay because, I mean, it's not perfect, but if you do have some place to be, most of the roads look fine, especially the main ones. I-485 out near Mount Holly Road. One thing we are also noticing this morning is that it is going to be a little foggy out there for most of you, but as we're looking at I-77, let's switch it over to Woodlawn. Again, again, we're really liking what we're seeing from I-77, I-85, 485. It looks so much better compared to yesterday. But like Chris has been saying, we're warming up today. We're getting the sunshine. Any of that ice that's still left over is going to start to melt today and then refreeze overnight. So tomorrow morning's commute could be quite dicey.
All right, thanks, Majestic. Well, the initial layer of sleet and ice is beginning to melt.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning in South Charlotte with a look at the conditions there. Destiny.
A look at the conditions there. Destiny.
Yeah, taking a look again at this South Charlotte parking lot this morning, and we are seeing just a lot of slush, ice in some places, black ice especially, where it's really thin and may look wet. But at this time, we're just seeing a lot of slush. This sidewalk here is looking okay. Again, just kind of like a dusting of slush right there, if you can see that. So for the most part, things are slushing. That's really things are slushy. That is the word that we're going to be using for most of the day. I did drive on some of the side streets around here, around the Ballantyne area, and you'll see that too, tire tracks going through the slush. The main roads, Johnston Road is looking just fine. Those roads look wet because they've been traveled on, they've been plowed, so that is good news. But again, this is the consistency you'll be dealing with. I say just be careful when it comes to walking around, especially going to your car in these parking lots. But this is definitely a time of the day where the roads have been treated. Crews did a really good job, as we've all been saying. And it's really just those side streets and neighborhood streets that are going to be filled with slush while the main roads are clear. So take advantage before that refreeze tonight. I'll send it back to you guys live here from South Charlotte.
All right, Destiny Richards reporting live in South Charlotte this morning. Thank you, Destiny. Air travel taking a hit from the storm as we speak. Flight Aware now reporting more than 300 flights are canceled at Charlotte Douglas, 364, and that number has been going up throughout the morning and could still get higher. You may remember yesterday there were more than 1,100 flights canceled at Charlotte Douglas, even more across the country. In fact, the most cancellations we've seen since the pandemic. From the skies to the roads, due to the dangerous conditions, CATS now says it's operating on a late schedule, delaying service until 10 this morning. That includes both rail and bus service. Officials urge riders to use the CATS Pass app to get updates, and if it's possible, delay your travel until the conditions improve.
And speaking of travel issues, many people could be walking out to a car covered in ice as they try to get back on the road today. A few reminders for those de-icing their vehicles. For the usual method of turning up your defroster, remember not to leave your car unattended. Use an ice scraper to clean the windshields or use the windshield wipers after the ice has softened. Doing so before they can thaw can damage the blades. And while it can seem like a quick fix, avoid pouring hot water on a frozen windshield. According to AAA, it can cause the glass to crack due to the rapid temperature change.
And if you see any weather impacts where you live over the next few days, we'd love to see them too. If it's safe for you to do so, take a photo or a quick video and send it to us using the Near Me feature that's in our free WCNC Charlotte mobile app. And make sure you include the location. It helps us to tell the story. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back. 7:42 now. We're going to head back up to Mooresville and check in with our Walker Lawson.
Yeah, Walker, how's it going out there? I know it's a little chilly and you're still seeing some ice in that parking lot at least, right?
Yeah, ice in the parking lot. We actually stepped over to the edge here so you can see this is one of the secondary roads that they've actually already cleared off. As I had mentioned, that secondary road moments ago. So this one looks honestly really good. It is wet though, and of course our concern tonight is going to be with that refreeze potential, but you get to see just kind of what a secondary road looks like. So if this is what the secondary road looks like, I can only imagine what the main road looks like, which has to be pretty well. But again, as we mentioned, it's going to get cold. So Megan, when I was in my car trying to warm it up, I found this lovely jacket. I don't know if you know anything about it, but this is the jacket I was referencing. If it's going to be so cold tomorrow morning, this will be my outfit tomorrow.
I mean, double up, right? Okay, so Walker's jacket is a little...
I mean, it is chilly out here.
Yeah, it's a little shorter than mine. Mine's like length.
Yes, they're very similar. They're
very similar.
I will be honest.
They're so cute.
The first time I saw Walker wearing it on TV, I thought, is he wearing Megan's jacket on TV?
Yeah, no, it's super soft. But this is...
I was compared to Macklemore by someone.
There you go. There you go. I love that. Also, too, though, in all seriousness, it is going to be really, really, really cold tomorrow.
It is. I mean,
so you're going to need those warm layers.
Yeah, I think Chris said like 11 degrees or something like insane. It's going to be super cold. So we do want you to be warm. We want you to be safe.
And stylish.
Walker. It's stylish if that comes with it too.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for checking in with us. Our Walker Lawson reporting live in Mooresville this morning. But good to see the secondary roads there also clear because, again, a number of people are heading out today and maybe they stayed in over the weekend and they're going to be making their way out. But give yourself plenty of time. You got to let your car warm up and be careful as you're driving as well. We're going to take another break. We'll be right back streaming live here on WCNC Plus. This morning, the sleet and freezing rain no longer falling, but there are some conditions that you should exercise some caution with across parts of North Carolina.
And tonight's sub-freezing temperatures are not making things any easier on the crews working to clear the roads. This morning, we're joined by Jen Goodwin with the North Carolina Department of Transportation. Jen, thank you so much for joining us. And I do have to commend your team. You guys are doing a wonderful job out on the roadways, looking really good on 85, 77 so far. So you guys are doing great.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that, and I will certainly pass along those words. We're happy to hear that. We've been working round the clock pretty much since Thursday when we started our de-icing operations, trying to get the brine solution out on all of our bare pavement routes and the interstates, our primaries, our secondaries. We do have even some subdivision streets in our bare pavement plan. And so we got that done on Thursday. And then we started working on our de-icing over the course of the weekend, having our crews report Saturday afternoon, since the storm was predicted to arrive a little bit later. And we've teamed up with over 100 contractors to also work on getting a lot of the ice off of the roadways. So during the course of the day yesterday, as the storm was moving through the area, we were trying to salt and resalt and get that to activate, to get a lot of that melting to start, and then we could start plowing. And fortunately, with temperatures being a little bit favorable for us yesterday, we were able to start pushing some of that material off of the roadways. And that is our effort today. Working on shoulders, working on ramps on our interstates and primaries today. We do have, of course, secondary roads in our system, as I mentioned, and also some subdivision streets, but we work on a priority system when it comes to our road clearing policy. So the higher volume roads are the ones that we work through first. And so we just work down that list until we get to those lower volume roads and neighborhood streets. And so we will get to them. It may be probably tomorrow before we finish clearing. And we have to be concerned about refreezing later this evening and overnight with those really cold temperatures coming back. And so we know we're not going to be completely in the clear by the end of the day today. So we're going to caution folks to still be careful. We know folks are going to be out driving today and tomorrow, of course, too. So be careful, because there's still a lot of hazardous conditions with shaded areas, turn lanes, bridges and overpasses, and areas that still haven't been cleared yet. So we don't want folks to think that everything's back to normal just yet.
And Jen, as you mentioned, there is the priority system, of course, with the heavily traveled roads being treated first. But folks may not understand, as you sort of detailed, this is a multi-step process, right? You treat the roads, you pre-treat them before the storm, then you go back with the salt and you're trying to get it to melt away. Then you want to plow it to get it out of the way. What do drivers need to know if they have to be traveling on those roads and they see one of your crews or the contractors? What do you want drivers to know and what they should be doing?
Of course, give us as much room as possible. Leave room for the contractors and the DOT crews to work. We know that travel is still unavoidable. Some workers are essential and have to be out today. So if you can leave us as much room as possible and drive for conditions, of course. Incidents are going to still happen. We were hearing yesterday from the Highway Patrol in excess of 400 plus accidents happening across the state because people are still driving, but causing crashes to happen. And we know that that's still a possibility, but that also impedes the ability to clear the roads. So take it slow out there if you have to go and drive, and try to stick to roads that you know have been treated and that are going to hopefully see a little bit more clearing, and make sure you increase your following distance and just slow down. We do have a good resource. drivenc.gov is our website that gives real-time traffic conditions and updates on what roads might be closed or partially or completely still covered with snow or ice. Hopefully we have that number go down as we go throughout the course of the day, today and tomorrow. But we encourage folks to check that out as a resource.
Excellent information there. Thank you for sharing that with our viewers as well. And again, hats off to you and to your crews for the hard work over the past few days. And I know that work continues this week as well.
Yes, we really appreciate it. It is an all hands on deck operation. We're going to be away from our families, working rotating 12-hour shifts until we get it all done. So thank you very much. And we appreciate everyone heeding advice to just stay off the roads if possible and take it easy.
All right. Thanks so much. NCDOT, again, as she said, those crews have their hands full. They have the schedule when they're working to get the roads clear. And just be patient. They will get to you eventually. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll make sure that you keep it right here on WCNC Plus. But before that, we are going to Chris. Didn't want to forget about you, Chris.
Yeah.
Then we'll take a break. You know, I have a few things I just wanted to mention, especially this. This is incredible. So what we're looking at is actually a tree that was split into 4 sections, almost perfectly, right? This is because of the weight of the ice, and the pure weight of the ice on some of these trees was well over 500 pounds, and then the pressure can be too much where it just literally just broke into a bunch of quadrants. And this was the scene all across the area. The amount of roads that were blocked because of pure icing all over the place were Nashville, Oxford, Mississippi got it the worst by far. We did have some icing a little more significant west and east of us. We can thank our lucky stars that we were on the lower end, and then our power outages were minimal compared to hundreds of thousands across Tennessee. Bridge versus road. I'm showing you this because that's where we're going to have a real problem by tomorrow. We are going to melt away some of the ice today, but letting you know it's going to remain for days technically because we're going to continue to refreeze it each and every night, especially when we drop down to a level that the ice mixtures that they use for the NCDOT are not going to be as effective. Now, they're probably going to use more of a chemical compound that'll be better than any sort of the typical salt that we would just buy at the store. So that's going to help us out, but then there's only so much you can do for a bridge overpass because it cools down even more on either side. But tomorrow is the absolute bottom by far, 11 degrees. That is the coldest temperature that I have forecasted for you here on WCNC since last January of 2024. Then we're back intermittently through the 20s and the teens, and I really don't see a warm up for a freezing low until February 5th, which, by the way, one of my favorite days, Monday. That's Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day has one big symbolic movement, not because of the groundhog. Groundhog Day technically is the midpoint of winter, so that's the whole reason through superstition why we even do that. For our high temperatures, well, it is going to feel like winter more so this coming Saturday because of a big drop from our next winter system that looks like it's going to try to skirt by the area. Potentially could be our next nor'easter. We have temperatures in the upper 30s the next couple of days, mix of the 40s, but again, it's really not until February 3rd and 4th that we're even getting back to the 40s. And looking at our long range forecast to the 8 to 14 day time frame that even brings us past a week of February, we're still trending on the cooler end, but eventually I think we start to switch over to more of a long-term warming trend by the middle part of February. I know that looks so far away, but over the next 6 to 10 days, we are well below normal still. All right, well, let's go over to I-85 with Majestic. You did a great job, by the way, and Storm Tracker. Great to have you back inside. No, Majestic, I forgot we're not doing that. Now we're going to go to break.
That's right, Chris. Thanks so much. A quick break, and we will be right back. This is a look at I-85 there at mile marker 39. Streaming live on WCNC Plus. Stay with us.
Well, good to see you. 38 degrees is what we have today. So we're dealing with a little foggy conditions, but already we're starting to lift that fog up and we'll start to see the sunshine before you know it. It's going to be a sunny day, but never overlook the winds. The winds will be gusting from 20 to 25 miles per hour out of the cold direction. So even though the upper 30s is better than where we were yesterday with no winter weather. Sunshine can only do so much when the wind chill is making you feel like either side of freezing during that time frame. So keep that in mind. The coldest morning of the week is tomorrow, dropping down well through the teens, even down to as cold as 11 degrees. That would match, or at least even be a little bit colder than where we were January 21st, 2024. So it's been a while since we've been this cold. After that, we're back to the 40s, even a chance for some winter weather again Friday into Saturday. All right, Majestic, how the roads looking?
Good morning, everyone. Well, honestly, I-77, I-85, even I-485 continues to look great. They look wet, but we like to see those temperatures climb above that freezing mark. And with some sunshine this afternoon, travel will continue to improve until tonight and into tomorrow morning. If you're driving in South Carolina, good morning to you. I-77 there at Harris Road also looks great. Not seeing any big problems for your Monday morning commute. Thank you for joining us on this Monday, live on WCNC Plus at 8 o'clock. I'm Megan Bragg, in for Ben.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We start things off with a check of your forecast. Temperatures for many of us are actually warmer right now than they were this time yesterday. But don't be fooled, because Chris says things are going to be changing, especially tonight.
Yeah, it is nice to see that we are much warmer than yesterday, because we were hovering around 18 degrees for multiple hours, but we're heading the opposite direction, so enjoy the treat for now. A lot of sleet and ice totals. The heaviest sleet was north of Charlotte, and actually the heaviest freezing rain. I know you can't read the numbers, and I'll specify this here in one moment, but the areas of red, that's where you had up and over a ½ inch of ice, and the most power outages really in the eastern and western North Carolina. Us in between, we had some intermittent spotty guys, but nothing was really too atrocious, so it's always nice to see that scenario play out. But still, a lot of ice from place to place, just really depends where you were. So the number one spot that I'm seeing well is over in Caldwell County. That's Gamewell. That's 3 inches of sleet. Morganton at 2. Turnersville, by the way, is in Iredell County. It's at 1.7. Concord, you had the most in the nearest Charlotte area, about 1.5, and a lot of ones either side of Ellendale over to Davidson and down over to Stallings and Cherville. You had just shy of 1 inch overall. Meanwhile, you didn't just have sleet, you had freezing rain. So we started off with some freezing rain, then a little bit of fine sleet, then we added more sleet, and there was even some signs of a little bit of snow that mixed in as well. But most of this was either a sleet or a a freezing rain event. Concord, you had the highest total in our area, 1/2 inch of ice. So a lot of that was just weighing down some of the tree branches. We had the most power outages really in Mecklenburg County. Over in Barris County, we did have a few hundred people. I think it was up to 2,000 was the max in the near Charlotte area, which is not actually too bad, especially with those totals anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice. I think the winds picked up a lot more. That would be a different story. Now, our visibility is not fantastic. We are still dealing with visibilities that are going to be on the lower end over the next few hours. And I would say even the next couple of hours, by about 9 to 10 o'clock, you can see a significant clearing overall. Already starting to see some breaks in the clouds. Current temperatures right now, it is freezing for you in Gastonia, 30 degrees around Shelby. So any little bit of fog that we have is technically freezing fog. The only reason why I'm not making as big a deal out of it is because we've treated, not we didn't do anything, well, NCDOT and crews did such a great job at treating the roads that it's not as much of a major issue. Now I want to talk about wind chills. We are looking at a cold weather advisory just because of how cold it's soon set to be. And that starts this evening because as early as this evening, it's already feeling like 15 below zero up in the mountains and knows throughout the day. Negative values are with us, and that's exactly where Richard Devane has been. Seen a bunch of those single digit negative values overall. So that cold weather alert shows that we have a cold weather advisory for the Charlotte area. You're going to have one of those for Charlotte anytime it's going to feel less than 10 degrees, and then extreme cold warning feeling like 15 to 20 below zero. Also, another concern is 1 pound of salt on a morning like this is melting up to about 50 pounds of ice. That's great. Well, you can almost cut that down by about 10 times because when you're closer to 10 degrees, where we're going to be tomorrow morning, the coldest morning of the week, it's not going to be as effective. So I think we're going to have a lot of black ice and a lot of concern as far as that is concerned. All right, so I'm going to leave my weather bookmark right here. We're going to talk a little bit more detail about our next winter precipitation chance that happens heading into the weekend, potentially another nor'easter system. I'll show you the first look what that is looking like and my first take. But first, let's hit the roads with Majestic. All right, now I'm going to say it again. Great job at Storm Tracker. Great to have you back in the studio.
Thank you. You know, yesterday we saw a lot of accidents on I-485. I-85 was a little dicey, but honestly, this morning it looks so good. Of course, those roads are wet, but again, temperatures will continue to get warmer and warmer throughout the day. Not that warm. I mean, at least just above that freezing mark, and then eventually some sunshine. So if you're traveling, this is what you can expect on I-85. This is right there in Billy Graham, where I'm not seeing any problems there. Again, I-77 here around Harris Road. This is our South Carolina cameras. All clear there. Much of the same in our camera showing you I-485. Secondary roads a little dicey at times, so just drive for the conditions. Still seeing that lingering fog from Monroe to Lancaster out towards Rock Hill, even up in the high country. Boone, you do have limited visibility for some areas, plus it's incredibly windy up in the mountains too. One thing to let you know about, it's not an accident, but it is a stalled vehicle. Exit ramp from I-85 westbound to W.T. Harris Boulevard. Lane is blocked because of that stalled vehicle, but important to note that that is at the ramp exit. Guys.
Majestic, thanks so much. 8:05 now. We continue to tell you about the lingering effects of this storm. Many of you are seeing the impacts, and we are tracking those conditions, including in western North Carolina.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live again this morning in Boone. Richard, good morning.
No, Megan, don't say that. Ask me the same question you've asked me all morning about the conditions. Go ahead. Ask that question now. How do things look, Richard?
How do things look, Richard?
Megan, it's a lot worse. Good morning to you. Good morning, Lisa. Happy Monday, everyone. Let me step out of the way and let you take a look. We had, look, you can see the winds are really kicking up. We do have precipitation now. We have stuff falling from the sky. The roads that we said were passable are going to be worse. We're going to have people, the road crews will be back out in earnest doing this, and the temperatures have dropped. You can really take a look and see how those winds have kicked up in just the last little bit, and we've had a lot more stuff falling from the sky. And it is getting colder, and actually it's a little bit better now. We've actually got some covering over us now. But yeah, this is what we're facing. So as the temperatures continue to dip, as you've heard Chris talk about all morning up here in the mountains, a lot of folks are staying off the roads. That's the good news. A lot of businesses and schools in the area and places like that have said that they're closed for today. So that's the good news. The bad news, it is really cold, it is really windy, and it looks like it's going to be like this for at least another 24 hours. So batten down the hatches up here. We're seeing very few people actually try to make their way out and drive around, so that's good news if you don't have to go out today. This is definitely a good day for Coco and watching us tell you how bad it is. And the winds are strong. Yeah, that actually was a little gust of wind. It actually made me move a little bit. And you know, I'm not light, so anyway, it's cold, it's windy.
Wow.
Those are the conditions here. They're getting worse. We'll keep you updated.
Richard, did they tell you that you're going to be live until 6 o'clock tonight?
Not funny. Not funny.
Richard,
Not funny.
We appreciate you. We really do appreciate you, Richard.
Yeah, okay. Stay warm. Stay warm in the studio. Oh my goodness. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I know.
brutal.
You could hear the winds whipping.
Brutal.
Yes,
My God. I think Kristen,
Stay
it feels
inside.
like one degree.
Yes.
There now. And the wind. My goodness.
All right, we're coming back here in Charlotte because the initial layer of sleet and ice is beginning to melt.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live in South Charlotte with a look at things there. Destiny, I'm sure it's probably cold, but definitely not like what Richard is experiencing there in the mountains up in Boone.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not as cold as in Boone. And now I'm in my car, so it's even warmer. But the reason why I'm in my car is because I wanted to venture out and kind of test the roads a little bit. And again, things are just mainly slushy. I'm in a business park here in the Ballantyne area where private crews have been treating the parking lots. And I found a giant hill of slush. So I show this to maybe make some people feel a little bit more assured that it's kind of like snow out here. Driving in snow, if you're experienced in that, then that's likely what you're going to be dealing with. I'm not going to drive too much while I'm talking, but I do kind of want to give you a look at what it will look like when you move out from a parking lot to seeing the side roads around here, because again, the conditions have improved. So definitely a testament to city and state crews around here. Things are looking a lot better. Of course, you want to take it very easy, very slow when approaching stop signs like this one. I'm turning onto Ballantyne Corporate Place in this direction. And as you can see, we've got some tire tracks that are here. So things looking a lot better. This is a main road in Ballantyne Commons Place, which from here you can turn and get onto Johnston Road. So a lot of the side streets, again, kind of looking a mess. But for the most part, the main roads, they're just wet. Some of them are even bare. And a really good thing is that whenever a bunch of cars are driving onto a road like this one, there's more and more bareness on the road because it's being kept warm. It's not turning into black ice because cars are driving. Of course, you want to take it slow. There might be just one lane that's open like this one. And so things are still a little bit different. It's not the day to return to normal driving. It's definitely one where you want to drive for the conditions that you see out there. So I'm going to drive away and not talk too much while I'm driving, and I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Destiny Richards, thanks so much for that. Be careful out there. Folks, take a look at this. Many people had some fun during this winter storm. They pulled out the sleds to have a blast in the icy conditions, and many kids will have the chance to do that again today as several school districts in our area are closed. CMS and Union County are closed, as well as Anson, Cleveland, Gaston, and Catawba County schools. Now, in South Carolina, York School District 1, Clover, Fort Mill, and Rock Hill will all have e-learning or virtual classes today. And you can find a list of those school closures as well as some business closings at WCNC.com, also on the free WCNC Charlotte app.
And while we're while we're actually at the end of this ice storm, people across the Carolinas are feeling the impact with over 38,000 households and businesses without power, according to Duke Energy. If you can take a look at this map right here, about 2,000 of those impacted are here in the Charlotte area. Western North Carolina got hit a little harder with 13,000 outages reported in the area. And in upstate South Carolina, there are about 14,000 reported outages.
If you see any weather impacts over the next few days, we'd love to see them. If it's safe for you to do so, take a photo or a quick video and send it to us using the Near Me feature in our free WCNC Charlotte mobile app. Make sure that you tell us the location that helps us to tell the story. We'll be right back after a short break.
Time now 8:15. This morning, first responders are working around the clock to make sure everyone stays safe during the winter weather.
And that includes the South Carolina Highway Patrol. This morning, we are joined by Master Trooper Hannah Davidson to talk about those efforts. Trooper Davidson, thanks so much for joining us. Tell us what it's been for you guys over the past couple of days.
Good morning. It's been a lot of preparation for us. We've had troopers around working 24 hours a day out here making sure everybody's safe. And we do appreciate most people have stayed home. We haven't had too big of any issues.
That is certainly good to hear. Trooper Davidson, if you can, if it's possible to turn your cell phone maybe horizontally so that we can see you. Oh, okay, I guess it doesn't work. But we'll continue to talk to you nonetheless. We know that you're trying. All good.
You are out on the roadways. Yeah, so tell me what it's looking like in South Carolina right now and what you guys are doing down there.
Yes, troopers are telling me the interstates and the main roadways are drivable, but a lot of what our main concern is right now is the secondary roadways and the county roadways. There's still definitely some areas that we are warning others about that are still pretty slippery. And then our biggest concern is going to be tonight whenever it freezes back over.
So I know that you have a number of crews that are actually out on the roads, and this is really unprecedented. This isn't the type of wintry precipitation that we see here in the Carolinas. What has it been like for the troopers who are out on the highways? Have they had to have any special training or things to go through to prepare for this?
Not any special training. We're just they have us stationed out on different areas of the roadways during our operation plan, scattered out throughout the counties. So we're there, to lend a hand for assist motorists. But our biggest concern too was to check on people that were stranded. We just didn't want them being cold. So the main thing for us was just the safety of the citizens out here.
Certainly, that's understandable.
Definitely. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us and keeping everybody safe, especially in the inclement weather. We really appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. 8:17 now. I believe we're going to check back in with our Walker NASA. No, we're going to take a quick break. So keep it right here on WCNC Plus. right, 8:19 now, and we continue to track the impacts of this winter storm. Of course, that brought some freezing rain and some sleet to our area all morning. We've been checking in with our crews spread out across North Carolina to show you the conditions there, including our Walker Lawson.
And if you don't know why I'm wearing this jacket right now, it's because Walker and I are twins. Walker, I am wearing my coat on the desk just for you. He has the same exact coat as me, so I know it's in his car. That's okay.
Took it off.
Walker, what are you seeing out there?
Okay, at 8:45 we can. Yeah, well, at 8:45 we can both wear a jacket, but I'll show you guys kind of what we're seeing first. So obviously some of these branches are still covered, but we're starting to see that melting process taking place. I'm gonna walk back. It's a little, the sleet had really piled up back here towards my car, but this is my personal car. Doesn't look great. So for people that have to get out this morning, you're gonna be running into this, which is clearly not doing much. If you're, I probably should have put my windshield wipers up before this storm, but this is a prime example of just how much sleet we got because it's quite thick, but then we also changed over to that freezing rain last night, which was able to kind of compact this onto vehicles. This is not just my car, this is all of the cars in the parking lot look about the same, except for my photogs who cleaned his off yesterday while we were out here. So I don't know, I could be out here cleaning my car until it gets 70 degrees. Or Megan and Lisa, if you want to come join me out here later today, I don't know. Could be fun activity.
Yeah, that's a no for us.
Yeah. That's why I'm happy I parked my car in the garage because I did not want to do that.
You gotta hit it a little harder though, Walker. You gotta hit a little bit, break that ice, and then start scraping.
She knows because she was just
I was at the hotel overnight,
okay,
so I had to deal with that this morning. Yeah, hit a little harder on the windshield, and then you start scraping in there.
Yeah.
Turn on the defrost. All right, we're gonna leave you to
that.
that.
Well, now I know. The more you know.
That's right. We're gonna leave you to that, and we're gonna check in with Chris now, Walker there in Mooresville. And honestly, that's the thing, Chris, that the number of people are having to deal with because, you know, yesterday it wasn't as bad coming into work early in the morning, but this morning it took a little longer to make sure that I could drive and that the windshields were clear.
And we have to thank our lucky stars that this wasn't our case and scenario. So what you're looking at right here is what the impacts of 3/4 of an inch of ice or more are. So we mentioned Nashville here on the stream, WCNC Plus. This is Oxford, Mississippi. So this is the power. You can see how those bigger trees are just bending over. And it's those big tall ones here in the Charlotte area that sway in the breeze. Those are the ones that have the chance of snapping when you have that much ice that's added onto that. Where say if you have a 30-foot diameter tree, the tops of the tree actually get up to about 7,000 extra pounds added to them. And that's why there were some examples in Nashville that the tree literally split. As for us, we just have to deal with whatever leftover moisture we have could refreeze, and it will refreeze because temperatures are dropping down into the teens, really the mid to the lower teens, or even down to the preteens, about 12 to 11 degrees. And this would be the coldest morning we've had since January 21st, 2024. So yeah, the coldest morning in 2 years here in Charlotte. Crazy. 13 degrees is the low back on that date. And the coldest we were before then, that was back on December 24th, 2022, where we dropped down to 9 degrees. So I have to leave you with this. People ask this question all the time. When do I drip? When temperatures are below 20 degrees, insulated pipes, that's the key word, insulated pipes could freeze within 6 hours. We have that as a possibility. For those who always worry about the big cool down that you're going to have burst pipes, this is for you. Because you definitely need to drip as early as possible. I would even say by the afternoon because temperatures are at that 28 degree point as early as 7 to 8 o'clock. So it's best before 5 o'clock today. Other than that, you can do it before you hit the evening, before 9 o'clock to make sure that you're getting that water running through the pipes. That's the big deal. Again, make sure to drip, especially tonight. All right, let's get over to Majestic for our morning commute and a new accident, it seems.
Yeah, we are seeing a couple more starting to pop up. So either I think people are probably just driving a little faster than they need to be, thinking, you know, you got the confidence, things are looking okay, but then you slip on some of that ice and then you drive off of the road. Want to show you our big picture perspective. So again, not seeing anything major on I-77 up in the high country or anything like that. I-40 continues to look okay, but let me show you the accident that we've been following. The new one, it's going to be right here on Oakdale Road. It's a car that slid off of the road, I-485, so out near mile marker 17, right in the middle of those two roads there. You can see it is going to be a little slick at times, especially if you get off to the side. That's where we do still have some of that sleet that has accumulated, still frozen over, very crunchy there, but the main roads just continue to look wet right now.
All right. Thank you so much, Majestic. Live look in Kannapolis right now. We're going to take a quick break, but keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, Charlotte Motor Speedway is not ready for any racing. We still very much have a lot of sleet and ice here, but look at that, sunshine starting to appear. Turning out to be a great looking day, but not a great feeling day. 38 degrees isn't the problem. It's the wind chills from those gusts getting up and over 20 miles per hour periodically throughout the day, making you feel like freezing or below. Speaking of, we are going to have the coldest morning of the season, of the year, and of the last couple of years. Last time we were this cold, January 21st, 2024, dropped down to 13 degrees. We're going to be right around there, if not a little bit colder. When temperatures are 28 degrees for 4 hours or more, you need a drip, and tonight is an absolute must. If you are ever worried about the big cool downs that what it could do to your pipes, this is for you. Make sure to drip and do anything that you need to accordingly overnight tonight. So a weather impact alert because of that. After that, back to the 40s, even a chance for another winter storm coming into the weekend. As of right now, low impacts. Majestic?
Good morning, everyone. Most of our interstates continue to look okay. Make sure you're driving with caution, though, and not driving too fast, or else you could still have some problems. We do have one car that slid off the road. This is I-485 out near Oakdale Road, but this has been the first big problem that I've seen so far this morning. Another thing that's new is right here, 485, one lane blocked at exit 39 because of a crash.
you are streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30 on this Monday morning. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Megan Bragg in for Ben Thompson. We're going to send it right over to meteorologist Chris Mulcahy because, Chris, we're done seeing that ice, but we have some cold temperatures we have to deal with now.
Yeah, which will cause more ice on a different level because of everything that's going to melt away today is just going to refreeze. And the biggest problem that we had yesterday was how cold it was. It was 18 degrees. And it wasn't just because we were uncomfortable and Walker was able to wear his puffy jacket that looks just like Megan's. It's because it was allowing everything to flash freeze onto the surface. We're not dealing with any more additional precipitation, but anything that melts away today, well, any of the ice melt is not going to be as effective. We still have some lingering fog, depending where you are. That's why you can see it off yonder across Dallas. At one point, Dallas, you could actually just see a layer of clouds that is now passing gone. So still foggy off in the distance here in Monroe, here around the Charlotte area, but soon it's going to look a lot more like what we're seeing over in Kannapolis. Beautiful blue sky and a beautiful blue map representing that we have cold weather on the way because that extreme cold warning for the mountains is representing that those wind chills can be anywhere from 15 to 20 below zero. Meanwhile, anytime Charlotte has a chance of a wind chill below 10 degrees, we're going to have a cold weather advisory, and that's exactly what we have here for the short term. So I want to get right to our future cast. So our future cast is showing our wind chills. Luckily this time not showing precipitation. We're going to start now. Right now it's feeling anywhere from 0 to 4 below zero up in the mountains for where Richard Devane is. And then as we work our way through today, watch what happens. It starts feeling like the teens by the back end of the afternoon. I think more so it's going to be during the evening hours that we have a better chance. And this is the lowest wind chills we'll have. So this is also factoring in some of the wind gusts that we're going to exceed 20 miles per hour here and there on and off through the afternoon, but the single digit values take over for the course of the evening. Now it's not going to feel like this the entire time, just when you're going to have those spurts of those gustier winds, but notice the mountains still 15 to 20 below during this time frame, feeling like 4 degrees around Lincoln at 1 a.m. Things get a little bit better as we close in on sunrise, just because the winds are usually a little bit lighter and the lightest right when the sun is rising up as we're changing into day. 1 degree is the actual feel around Statesville, and then we improve back to above zero for you in the mountains and feeling like a balmy 25 come 2 p.m. tomorrow. Now, it is very much a winter forecast. There's nothing that I can say. Regardless of where we're going, it is very much January, but we don't get to have the treat of the 50s and the 60s that January has. We already had those, and that's the problem. Whenever you have those kind of tease warm-ups and even a challenge near 70 degrees, the atmosphere in general has to go into a balance, and that's exactly what we're seeing here, making up for lost time. But that 11 that we have on Tuesday is the coldest by far going forward and the coldest we've been in over a year. Lower to the mid 40s, so it's a little bit warmer, mixing in some more clouds on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And now I'm going to leave you here on Saturday, because on Friday night to Saturday, we have a chance for another nor'easter. And a nor'easter originates from southwest in the Gulf, passing the Carolinas. I'm going to show you that path. It's way too far out to even talk about what we could see, but we are seeing our next chance for precipitation. And look at those temperatures. They're well below freezing. That would be another winter blast, but this one might be a little more favorable for something. I'm going to leave it right there. All right, let's get right over to Majestic on this slushy morning that each time I look at your cameras, it's looking better and better, but not so much for the traffic map.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. A new crash right here. Let's get straight to it. It's going to be out there in Gaston County. One lane is blocked on I-85 because of it. You can see it's going to be right at exit 23. That's Main Street. Not saying significant impacts with it right now, but still one lane blocked on I-85. That's something to keep in mind as you head over to the east side of Uptown. This is going to be on I-485 right before exit 39. That's Harrisburg Road. Another lane is blocked because of an ongoing crash. Heading up just to the north a bit, still I-485. This is on the northeast half of it. The outer loop at I-85, there is a crash there. In addition to that, we've been watching those roads for you very carefully, looking at all of our different cameras. This is going to be I-485 out near Mount Holly Road. You can see most of that sleet and the icy conditions off to the side. Main Road still looking pretty good. We have seen a car actually slide off of the road, so even though it does look all right, just make sure you're driving with caution.
All right, Majestic, thanks for that. 8:35 now, and this morning, as we said, the precipitation has stopped, but there are still some impacts this morning, including some slick roads in some cases, and we can continue to track those conditions for you, including in western North Carolina, up in the mountains.
Yeah, WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is going to be live for us this morning in Boone. He's going to show us the conditions there as we continue to keep you updated. So looks like he is trying to get, we see the tire there.
Yes.
Not sure.
We can tell you it's very windy.
Very
there. When
windy.
we saw Richard earlier, he was saying like the winds have picked up, and he has not seen a lot of people out and about up in Boone today, of course, because of those conditions. And you can still see some of the surfaces are slick. I believe this may have been at the hotel where they were. So we'll work on getting Richard to give us another update on the conditions there. Right now, though, we're going to check in with our Destiny Richards. She is live this morning in South Charlotte.
Yeah, that's right. We are in, or I am in, it's just me. I'm in Ballantyne this morning and getting a look at the conditions. It feels a little bit more safe to get onto some of the roads this morning, of course, taking it slow. And I'm here on the Ballantyne Corporate Place Bridge over Johnston Road and the on-ramp to I-485. So I'll actually turn it around so you can see what the bridge looks like. It's still slick on bridges and it's still slushy on side roads. So this is kind of like what it looks like once you get off the bridge and then you head on to continue on to Ballantyne Corporate Place. And then right now we're looking at Johnston Road down below. So Johnston and then the on-ramp to I-485 right here. So NCDOT again did a great job clearing these streets. So they are definitely a lot safer than they were. It's a lot warmer today, or a little bit warmer today, but that refreeze, of course, is going to make things more treacherous. But I just wanted to show this to give you an idea that, you know, it's not a day, again, to start driving normally again. While you see this, you also have this, and even the sidewalk is still a little bit slick. I had to be careful. We did see some runners out here, some people walking, so it's not stopping everybody. But if you have experience driving in snow, I would say that's what it feels like on a lot of these side streets and some of the main roads. But you always want to exercise caution when it comes to bridges. So definitely be careful no matter what part of Charlotte that you're in. I'm sure it looks like this in other areas as well. But for now, I will send it back to you guys live here from South Charlotte.
Have to be extra careful with those bridges and overpasses. Destiny, thanks so much for that. And again, those icy conditions are not just a concern here at Charlotte, but across the South. Julie Martin joins us live this morning from Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta Airport this morning, following the latest on the conditions there. Julie, great to see you as well. Tell us what things are like. I know we saw you yesterday and you were saying there were not a lot of people in the airport. What's it like today?
Well, Lisa and Megan, it is getting to be back in business here at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson. The volume is still relatively light, but much busier than yesterday and really over the weekend. That's because the airlines had pre-canceled so many flights. There just wasn't the volume. The flights were not coming in or out. But that has changed. I just checked, and it looks like about 200 flights in or out of this airport were canceled today. But most of them are in the Northeast. That's where we're getting all the really active winter weather right now in places like Boston, New York City, Washington, D.C. So kind of makes sense there because those flights can't get in. Taking a look here at security, though, still really pretty great. Just a couple of minute wait. This line, by the way, can get up to an hour or more if these lanes are all filled up here, and that happens regularly. So probably a pretty nice surprise for people coming out to the airport this morning and ready to get out and get to their destinations. Well, throughout the storm, though, about 19,000 flights were canceled nationwide, a lot of them here, and the good news is we're starting to get back in business, as I mentioned. We're cold here, though. Right now it feels like about 8 degrees in Atlanta. We're in a cold weather advisory, and we're still a little bit worried about the roads, too, especially those bridges and overpasses. So black ice, and then as we get into portions of northeast Georgia and some of the higher elevations, just plain old ice really still persisting and being a problem because it is so cold out there. While the rain and the freezing rain and the precip, that's all stopped. anything that has fallen is just frozen in place at this point because it's so cold and also very windy here. So still feeling a lot like winter and not quite done with this winter storm just yet in Atlanta.
All right, Julie Martin reporting live for us there at the Atlanta airport. Julie, thanks so much for that. Take a look at this. We have received a lot of videos and pictures from you across the area. Many of you making the most of the wintry mix, having some fun. Thanks so much for sending them in. Take a look at this video. Some people having a bit of fun. One viewer just south of Asheville sledding down his driveway. As you can see, it is covered in a thick layer of ice. That looks like fun. Some colorful language. I guess we can't share that part, but having a great time. Another viewer, Justin, sending this in. He actually made a snowman using all of the snow, sleet, and ice in his yard. Well done, Justin. Thanks for sharing that. And experts are taking notice of injuries on e-devices. Coming up, what the trauma center is saying they all have in common. That story is next.
Time now, 8:43. We were taking a live look at scenes from Washington, D.C. yesterday, where making the most of the winter weather by sledding down Capitol Hill. D.C. is one of the several places that have declared weather emergencies this week. Our meteorologist Chris Mulcahy will have more on this week's storm and what to expect in just a bit.
The Trump administration abruptly halted and then reversed public health funding to cities and states. A notice landed in inboxes Saturday that more than $5 billion in CDC infrastructure grants were paused. But within hours, a U.S. Department of Health and Human Services spokesperson confirmed that pause had been lifted and no grants were terminated. The spokesperson says the pause was to implement a new review process. These grants support lab testing, emergency preparedness, patient care, and public health jobs.
A trauma center in Las Vegas is reminding people who use e-device modes of transport to wear protective gear, especially helmets. The reminder comes after the Sunrise Trauma Center saw a surge of patients in just the first 3 weeks of this year. Only about a fifth of patients injured in e-bike or e-scooter accidents wore a helmet. An official with the trauma center said some of the worst injuries from using e-devices are traumatic brain injuries. Toyota says it's recalling about 162,000 of its newer pickup trucks because their multimedia screens could pose a safety risk. The recall covers 2024 and 2025 Tundra and Tundra hybrid models, and customers are already being notified. The company says the screens can freeze on a camera view or go completely dark, which means drivers may lose their backup camera feed. Toyota says the issue could violate federal safety standards.
All right, if you are heading out the door anytime soon, this is what roadways are looking like out there in South Carolina, continuing to look really good. Still some icy spots, though, right around I-485. You can see a car slid off the road. We'll have a check on traffic coming up here soon.
.47 now. We continue to track those conditions as this winter storm has left our area, but we are seeing the impacts of them, and people are preparing to stay really warm as there's a chance for really cold temperatures overnight into tomorrow.
Okay, if we want to take boxes right now, I just want to take this moment to show the coats off. Look at us twinning in the boxes. WCNC Charlotte. Walker Lawson, he's been keeping track of the conditions in Morrisville. And we've also been very stylish this whole show. Really, the coats are taking over the show at this point. But,
I feel left out.
I know. Come here, Lisa.
You guys look great, though. You guys look great.
Lisa, you're next. We're ordering you one. And then we're going to get Chris a Majestic one. We're all going to match. So, Lisa, I took your advice and hit it a little bit harder. So it is coming off, honestly, pretty well now that I've mastered the technique of it. So we're making progress. But big thing, it does work. It does work. But the big thing is, and what's actually really interesting as we were standing here, so some of the trees that are around us, as you can see, they're already starting to melt. We're seeing that the trees sweating almost, in a sense. You're seeing the water running. And as I'm standing here, I just kind of looked around and realized the sun, as it's going to move, it's going to be so hard for the sun to even get to most of these surfaces and or these vehicles, because it's with the January sun angle, it's super difficult. Add in the fact that we're going to be refreezing tonight. Add in the fact that you have sleet, which is really hard to melt, compacted with ice. So it's definitely going to be, obviously, these main roads that we've kind of seen and some of the secondary roads are definitely looking much better, but you have to think about these parking lots, these grassy surfaces in these areas that are not going to be getting direct sunlight for quite some time in this refreezing, guys. It's definitely going to be around for a little bit, I would believe.
Certainly it is. In fact, I'm going to do a Connect the Dots tomorrow about black ice and how you can't always see it. And with those temperatures being so low overnight, that's going to be the case for a lot of people. All right, Walker, well, I'm glad that you learned how you can get the ice and the precipitation off your car. So certainly we're glad that that is working for you. And you guys look great. Again, jealous, but you look fantastic, both of you.
Thanks, Walker.
All right, thanks, Mark. Let's check back in with Chris now. Chris, I mean, we got to get in on this, right?
I know, we got to pop some tags. We got $20 in our pocket. All right, well, I want to introduce a new segment that I just came up with a second ago. So it's your words. People message me all the time. Blair Schiff from Charlotte, North Carolina, by the way, she works here, so she just triggered this. So maybe tomorrow it'll be your words watching. She said, it sounds like pouring rain in my backyard because all the melting ice coming from the trees above me. I think that was a really good imagery. We've been over the last few days, Destiny inspired this, really talking about the audible surroundings that we have from the system, that sleet, boy, was it some ASMR. I actually posted something about that. Some of the best sounding sleet that I've heard in a long time, really that quality sleet that was really thick as well. Well, that is one of the main culprits of why it was so bad on some of the back roads. Now, crews did a great job trying to soften things up. However, the temperatures that we have overnight tonight are going to be dangerously cold. That's why we have a cold weather advisory, but also not good for your pipes. I would not be surprised if we have some road shutdowns because of a burst water main by tomorrow, and also some businesses that don't do well when temperatures start to drop. This is going to be a problem. I do know for sure when temperatures are down 28 degrees for 4 hours or more, that's when you need to drip. When they're down below 20 degrees for 6 hours or more, that's where even insulated pipes could have a problem. But if you just add the dripping, it has to be just a slow drip, nothing too huge. That's going to make all the difference. So Monday you have to do it the earliest. All the other days, it's best to do it before 9 p.m. But pretty much each and every night over the next week or so, you got to do it. So I want to talk about our precip chances. What is that? That's a new icon as well. Snow chance? Well, this is way too far out, but we like to talk about what could come. But I'm letting you know about the setup. So we mentioned nor'easters before, right? Well, I'm going to stop it right here. You start to see some moisture develop out of the Gulf, and then that's going to continue its way off towards the north and east Thursday heading into Friday. But notice what happens. As it starts to interact with some of that colder air, we'll have a chance for a little bit of snow right around the Tennessee, North Carolina border up into the Virginias. This is Friday at 6 p.m., but it's just about where the center of circulation is going to be. But this type of setup would actually give us another chance for some winter weather. But this time we don't have as much of the rain-snow line. We very much could be on that, but there's actually an outside chance that we could see a little bit of snow. I'm not going to say any totals or anything. I'm just showing you what I'm looking at, but especially when you see that big deepening low pressure system, that's going to be a problem. 11 degrees by tomorrow, that's the coldest. Outside of that, we have highs returning to the 40s, still well below normal, but that system, regardless of snow or no snow, it's going to be cold. 27 degrees, that's our high, so below freezing for over 24 hours Saturday heading into Sunday morning. All right, Majestic, one more look at traffic, and people are slipping and sliding some spots.
Yeah, a couple of cars off of the road. This is I-45 out near Oakdale Road. Starting to see a lot more sunshine peeking through, and again, just drive with caution. Most cars aren't having too big of a problem traveling because a lot of the roads, they're actually just wet, and again, temperatures continuing to climb above that freezing mark. But if you're traveling too fast and you do hit one of those slick spots, then yeah, you can still drive off of the road because of that. While we switch it over to our map, want to talk about our new crash here. It's going to be right here on I-85. One lane is blocked because of it. It's going to be in our northbound lanes out by exit 23. That is Main Street. And then once we head over towards the east side of Uptown, another lane is blocked, this time on I-485. It's going to be on the outer loop right before exit 39. That's Harrisburg Ave. So just continue to drive with caution. Know that conditions are much better than yesterday, but they're still not perfect. All right, Larry, over to you.
At this story sprinkled, time for our Carolina trivia, and today's trivia is all about wild horses, and specifically the wild horses of the Outer Banks of North Carolina. If you can find them, they're very elusive. What a great sight to see, and some great pictures as well. The wild horses of the Outer Banks brought there by Spanish explorers in the 1600s. They are smaller feral horses, very docile, now known as the banker horse, officially known as the colonial Spanish Mustang, the state horse of North Carolina, by the way. Native to the Outer Banks, have lived there for over 500 years, can be found on the Shackelford Banks and in the Qualla area. but there are only less than 300 horses that are still out there. Some great sights to see. The wild horses of the Outer Banks of North Carolina. That's today's trivia. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
Thank you, Larry. They are beautiful animals. So we are going to take a quick break right now, but make sure that you keep it right here, streaming live on WCNC Plus. At the top of the hour, our Jane Monreal is going to take over from our Live Impact studio. She's going to have more from our Richard DeVay. You may recall that Richard is up in Boone, showing us the conditions in western North Carolina this morning. Again, more on your weather impacts after this winter storm across North Carolina, streaming live only on WCNC Plus.
A lot of the major roads have been treated, but we still have scenes like this over Charlotte Motor Speedway. Clouds starting to clear, so we'll see some sunshine. Highs only upper 30s, but realistically, it's feeling like it's freezing with those on and off gusts at 20 to 25 miles per hour. By the way, it is time to start dripping those faucets. Late afternoon, heading into the evening, we're going to be well below 28 degrees. During this range, we're going to drop from 28 at 8 p.m. to 13 degrees at 8 a.m. Absolutely. This will be the coldest morning that we have of the year, of the season, and where we have been since January 21st, 2024. We haven't been that cold. Then we're back to the 40s on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Our next winter system could arrive Friday heading into Saturday. We have a slight chance of that winter precipitation. Very cold, though. Only a high 27. All right, Majestic, still some lingering impacts for our morning commute. What's going on?
Look at I-485. Most of our major roads continue to look okay, but if you are driving too fast, look at what can happen. A couple of cars sliding off of the road because of that, so just continue to drive with caution, even though conditions are really quite improving, especially as temperatures continue to get a little warmer. I-85, we do have one lane that's blocked because of a crash. Northbound lanes at exit 23 specifically, that's out by Main Street. Some delays starting to build there because of it, and then another wreck on 485.